Well, hello there everybody, my name is Jade and welcome back to Arts, Movies and Us, and today I'm coming at you with another speed drawing. Sorry this one's a little bit late, I do try and upload every week. Jade, when do you try and upload every week? Since when? Since I became a YouTuber I decided to try at least, but yeah, I got a life and we've got a lot of work to do around the farm, so yeah, there's been a lot of things that have distracted from me actually recording the audio to finish this speed drawing. So I thought I might finally do it today because it's raining outside, and honestly, if I don't do something on a rainy day productive in any means and just mess around, then I feel like I wasted a lot of time. So I decided to do this. Now, also today I've been working a lot on illustrating my comic, Love is Magic, about Cadence and Shining Armor. And I'm getting along quite well. I got upwards of I'm not sure how many pages, but now the entire page count is up to 50. So I've had to be illustrating all of them with the ink layer, like what you see I'm doing here. I've just been inking them in, going from the sketch to the ink. Then next I'm going to be doing the flat colors. Then after that I will be doing the shadowing and the lighting and all those little effects that help bring it to life. So yeah, it's a process, and that's why Love is Magic has been so delayed for several months now. That and a lot of rewrites. I've had to rewrite the script several times. Fortunately, my brother finally helped me get things in order to where it's got a proper script from beginning to end, or at least from where I left off all the way to the end. And because before, I didn't know where I was going with it, and I had some ideas, and they never really were strung together in my mind. Like, I had a basic idea of what I wanted, but no clear idea of where to go with it. So I finally bit the bullet and wrote a script. You see, I tried to use the Hayao Miyazaki approach of just telling the story on the paper with emotions, but I felt I finally needed a script that wasn't just in my head. That way I wasn't redoing entire chapters because something new came along. So yeah, I finally did that, so Love is Magic should be finished sometime next year around the summer. That's what I'm hoping for, because I got other comic projects that I want to move on to, besides this My Little Pony comics. So yeah, I'm going to be focusing all my effort on finishing this comic over the course of the winter. So that's going to be my primary thing. So speed drawings may be few and far between, but I will hopefully still do a few for YouTube, because, you know, I like doing speed drawings. They're interesting to me. Also, another funny thing that I thought I might tell you about is we got banned from Equestrian Stories on Deviant Art. Well, temporarily banned. Let me tell you the full story. So, my brother Jaron is a fan of one of their comics, Find Yourself, which is actually a pretty good comic. I would suggest reading it if you like Discord. So, we've been fans of this comic for quite some time, and the other day a brand new page came out, and my brother comments, "First comment!" And apparently this is one of the 7 deadly sins on the internet. For a little bit of context, we've only been active on the internet for about a year now. Before that, we just watched some YouTube videos starting back in 2012, but we did not grow up with the internet. We did not have any access to the internet, nor did we want any access to the internet. We had better things to do, like running around outside as kids should. We played in the sandboxes, but I digress. Back to what I was saying, so we comment first comment because we thought that was some sort of fun in-joke because we'd seen other YouTubers use that as a funny in-joke, namely Poet Plays and Jake of their sort of shenanigans and stuff. There was a lot of in-jokes there which we picked up on and thought that they were sort of, they were in-jokes that we found hilarious, but apparently aren't widely thought of as hilarious, and I guess first comment was one of those things that isn't widely thought of as hilarious. So we got banned from Equestrian Stories, and so we had to go and create another DeviantArt profile and then send a note to him saying, please unban us because we want to see the rest of this comic. Like, we couldn't even see the comic. It wasn't just we weren't allowed to post comments, we couldn't see any of his artwork anymore. So that was really irksome. So we had to contact him via another DeviantArt account and say, unban us please. So needless to say, we got unbanned, but it was a harrowing 30 minutes of trying to figure it all out and sending him notes and stuff, and he was just like, alright, I'll unban you, but no one likes a first comment. And I was like, okay, it's a little bit of a strong reaction when someone just says, first comment, then you just insta-ban them from your entire profile. I didn't get it. I thought it was a little bit quick to the trigger, but hey, everyone's entitled to their own sort of adminship. So another thing that I thought I might talk about and tell you a little bit about is where the idea for the comic Love is Magic about Cadance and Shining Armor actually came from, and why I chose to write a story about them in the first place. You see, it all started back in the summer of 2017, just last year, when we first saw A Canterlot Wedding. And you see, we had just started watching My Little Pony back at the end of June, and we finally got to the episode A Canterlot Wedding, and instantly fell in love with Cadance and Shining Armor. They were two of our new favorite characters. Then, to follow up with that, was Crystal Empire, which was another terrific two-parter. These 4 episodes, back-to-back, just really endeared Cadance and Shining Armor to us and just made us absolutely adore these characters. But then we found that they weren't featured very much in the rest of the series, which I found really disappointing. So we were talking about how, I wish there was a story called Love is Magic about Cadance and Shining Armor when they were children. And that's where I first coined the name Love is Magic. And so we were just joking around about that, or not joking around, but talking about it, saying it would be neat to just have a story, a sort of romantic young love story about them when they're kids. And so we forgot about it for a while, and then I discovered the IDW comics, I think that's what they're called, about Cadance and Shining Armor. You know, the ones with the kind of Karate Kid 80s plot line to it. It's a bizarre one, and these ones didn't feel like Cadance and Shining Armor at all. It's like, Shining Armor in it is a kind of a wimpy nerd, but the thing is, I never saw Shining Armor as a wimp in any manner of speaking. He's the freaking captain of the Royal Guard, and you cannot be a wimp if you're a soldier. So this made no sense. Then on top of it, Cadance's character was, I don't know how to describe her. She was just that kind of classic 80s archetype of the girl who likes the wimpy kid, and the wimpy kid likes her, but neither of them are really willing to say anything about it because of social pressures, and for some reason she hangs out with the biggest jerk in school. I don't know why this was. I don't think they're a couple in any way, but for some reason she just hangs out with or with him. Buck Withers was his name, and then her 2 sort of airheaded friends. So yeah, it's pretty stereotypical. So I didn't really like this that much. So from there, I tried to find any other sort of content featuring Cadance and Shining Armor in a good way, but there's just nothing, because most people kind of think of them as a joke, so any sort of comics that people do for them are just jokes or things like that. And so the idea of a Cadance and Shining Armor standalone episode, or even a good book about them, was a unlikely one, and we sort of let the subject lie for a while, until finally around springtime of this year, 2018, we were talking once again about stories, and we started joking about the comics about Cadance and Shining Armor, or where Shining Armor was like a nerd and stuff, the ones I talked about earlier, or the official ones, but we remembered how he was playing Dungeons & Dragons with his friends. We transferred that over to what we jokingly dubbed Hooves of War, which is basically a Warhammer for My Little Ponies. If you're not familiar with Warhammer 40k, it's a tabletop war game. It's a pretty good one, and I personally prefer brick and musket or bolt action, but I digress. So anyway, hey, we came up with the idea of Shining Armor playing this war game, Hooves of War, with his nerd friends, and then Cadance comes along carrying a box and sits down at the table, and all the boys are sort of like, ooh, what the heck, a girl's here? And of course Shining Armor just greets her and is like, oh, hey, Cadance, what brings you here? And she's like, well, I thought I might join you guys for your game this evening. And then she turns over the box and spills out a bunch of changeling figurines and says, I got my own army and everything, and I know the rules, so you don't have to teach me. And the other nerds are just sort of like, oh, what the heck? And of course, to Shining Armor, he knows that she loves these games, and so they start playing this Warhammer game, and Cadance completely just demolishes all of them, despite them all versus her. So that's where the idea came along of like, what if Cadance liked war games? And so he just sort of ran with that idea, and that was the original idea for a comic that I came up with. But then it quickly evolved less from a parody to a fully fledged story about Cadance and Shining Armor when they're younger. It's like, I still have the sort of war game aspect to it, but it's not the main plot line, and it doesn't really play a main role. But it's there. You'll see in the future chapters. So the story from there developed more into a story about 2 young people falling in love. and just the sort of trials and tribulations of being a 14-year-old and falling in love for the first time, as well as the social pressures of Cadence is a princess, as you know, and Shining Armor is just the son of a royal guard. So there's a little bit of that class division there. I don't want to give away any spoilers about the storyline and the future developments of the comic. You'll just have to wait and see. But the next chapter, Chapter 2, should be out soon. And we've got a lot done on it, and it should be posted on my Deviant Art page. Anyway, we're nearing the end of the video, so I thought I might wrap it up, because I don't know how to do outros. So there'll be a link in the description to my Deviant Art page, where you can check out my artwork and the comic that I've been talking about, as well as follow us there, because I like that. And also, if you liked the YouTube video, please like and subscribe, because that is literally the lifeblood of YouTube now, and because of their stupid algorithm, it's very likely that this video will remain obscure unless you guys give it likes and feedback and stuff like that. So I will see you next time. My name has been Jade. Ciao.